Hello students, today we will deal with the topic radio. First, let us understand the history and growth of radio in India. As food, clothing and shelter are part of our lives, so is the radio today. Slowly and silently, the radio has crept into our lives and is here to stay. In India, as early as August 1921, the Times of India in collaboration with the Post and Telegraph Department broadcasted a special program from its Bombay office. This was at the request of Sir George Lloyd, Governor, who listened to the program of Pune. The first radio program in India was broadcasted by the Radio Club of Bombay in June 1923. It was followed by the setting up of a broadcasting service that began broadcasting in India in June 1927. On an experimental basis at Bombay and Calcutta simultaneously, under agreement between Government of India and a private company called the Indian Broadcasting Company Limited, the programs were going on. After that, the development of broadcasting in India proceeded with many ups and downs and in climate of much uncertainty. Improvements in technology also supported change. The transistor was invented during World War II. In 1930, the Indian Broadcasting Company handed over Bombay station to the government and it was renamed as Indian State Broadcasting Service ISBS. It was renamed as All India Radio on 8th June 1936. When India became independent, the All India Radio network had only 6 stations located at Delhi, Bombay, Calcutta, Madras, Lucknow and Tiruchirappalli with a total complement of 18 transmitters. With the implementation of Prasar Bharati Bill, All India Radio is operating independently, having different nature of control by the government. Before 1976, television constituted as a part of All India Radio. After that, it was separated from All India Radio and constituted into a new body under a new banner, Doordarshan. Now, All India Radio is also called in the name of Akashvani, like television, that is called Doordarshan. Then All India Radio began operating in 1936 as a government organization with clear objectives to inform, educate and entertain the masses. All India Radio is a national service planned, developed and operated by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting under the Government of India. After the independence, All India Radio had a network of 6 stations, complementary 18 transmitters and covered only 2.5 of the area and 11% of the population. Today, All India Radio has a network of 215 broadcasting centers with 144 medium frequency, that is MW, 54 high frequency, that is SW and 139 FM transmitters. At present, there are 215 broadcasting centers including 77 radio stations with 100% coverage. Coming to the achievements of All India Radio has been broadcasting its programs in analog mode. Shortwave achievement, that is SW, the shortwave radio provides large coverage, generally 1.6 to 30 megahertz, but the reception quality is not satisfactory due to the inherent skywave propagation impairments. Another achievement is medium wave, that is MW. In medium wave, the coverage is limited due to the conductivity considerations and the quality of reception is fairly better over short wave. Another achievement is frequency modulation bands. This is also called FM radio, and though it provides excellent reception quality, the coverage is limited to line of sight only. So, the All India Radio has embarked in the era of digital radio broadcasting on 16 January 2009 by launching its first digital radio transmission in shortwave band by using DRM technology to bring significant improvement in the reception and coverage. DRM technologies enable content publishers to enforce their own access policies on content, such as restrictions on copying and viewing. Now, let us see the features of radio and All India Radio services. All India Radio has a 3-tier system of broadcasting through which it caters to the information, education and entertainment needs of the people. Those are, the first one is national service. The national channel of All India Radio started functioning on May 18, 1988. It covers nearly 76% of the population and 64% of the area of the country. It provides a judicious blend of information and entertainment to programs including news, high quality Hindustani, Carnatic and Western music, investigative reports and features, magazines, plays, sports and also Vivid Bharati, category of people, men and matters of music and different regional matters. The next service is regional services. The regional services cater to major linguistic and cultural groups. This service is offered by each state and union territory to the groups living in these areas. Except for news and national programs of folks and music which are relayed from Delhi, the other programs of each regional station directed at different groups such as farmers, workers, their children, women and youth are produced at the regional stations and even the centers. The national service programs are broadcast over shortwave transmitter, which makes it possible for regional centers to relay them also. Another service is external services. The external services of All India Radio act as a bridge between India and the outside world. The external service division ESD broadcast programs for 69 hours per week, every day in 24 languages. General overseas service in English, 15 other foreign languages and in 8 Indian languages for our listeners in different parts of the globe. External broadcast project the Indian point of view of world affairs and acquaint the overseas listeners with the developments in India along with the information on the Indian life and also the culture, tradition and heritage. It also broadcasts in Indian languages for Indian people settled abroad. The programs generally comprise news bulletins, news reels and current affairs, review of India press, sports and folk music and so on. There is one more service, that is Vivid Bharati. Vivid Bharati was started on 2nd October 1957 as a service of light entertainment to compete with Radio Ceylon, which had begun directing a commercial service to India on powerful shortwave transmitters. At present, there are 30 Vivid Bharati and commercial broadcasting stations in the country. 60% of the time of the stations is devoted to film music and the rest is earmarked for devotional music, light music and spoken word programs in the form of short plays, talk interviews or talks, etc. Sponsorships are also accepted for these programs. Vivid Bharati service increased the popularity of radio as a mass communication medium. At present, this service is on the air for 12 hours and 45 minutes every day with an extra hour and a quarter on Sundays and holidays also. There is also news service division that produces 89 bulletins in 19 languages which emanate from Delhi and are relayed by several other All India Radio stations. In addition to these bulletins, the regional news units, 41 in all, located in different parts of the country produce as many as 134 regional and 7 external news bulletins. The News Service Division produces bulletins for listeners abroad in 24 languages. There are also other services through radio to the audience. Frequency modulation is one of them, and this broadcast is through the radio signals from transmitting station travel into the space without any hindrance. There is no reflection of signals by the upper atmosphere. It is just sufficient that the reception set is within the area of the station. It is often called FM radio station. Some stations are referred to as clear channel stations, which refer to powerful station broadcasting to wide area without any interference. It is essentially a local channel with a reach of 70 kilometer radius from the place of transmission. Owing to its crystal clear reception, it has traditionally been used for broadcasting music, often intercepted with local news and weather forecasts. FM was introduced in 1977, but it was not really activated. It was activated in 1992. All metros like Delhi, Bombay, Calcutta and Madras etc. have a 24-hour FM service. FM has a chatty interactive style of programming, and this radio substitutes as a friend. There is also phone-in program. This provides a simultaneous communication. People telephone to the broadcasting station on a given telephone number at the time of broadcast and ask questions, and the experts at the station reply to their queries immediately. Voicemail is also one of the service facility where people can telephone and record their requests, complaints, suggestions and also their appreciation, and these messages are later retrieved and played back in a special voicemail program with suitable replies to their queries. There is also Radio Bridge. This is a program on special occasions and is broadcast live, uplinking all the radio stations through satellite. It represents a live interaction among the participants, including listeners in different parts of the country. Presently, 20 All India radio stations have uplinking facility. There is also radio paging, a major application of the additional data service injected in the FM broadcast channel known as RDS, and this is also radio paging. It would provide alert signals, emergency calls, valuable information, etc. The service will be highly useful for medical professionals, business executives, commercial applications and emergency services. All India Radio has FM transmitters at 17 centers for this service. Now, let us know about the formats of radio programs. There are three main pillars of radio programs composition. They are news, second one is music programs and the third one is spoken word programs. News programs constitute 22.49% of the total radio program composition. The music programs include classical, folk, light, devotional, film and western music programs. Talks, discussions, interviews are regularly arranged to provide a forum for all shades of opinion on outstanding national and international issues also. Radio drama figures both in All India Radio's general programs as well as in the programs for specific groups. Radio features and documentaries are the formats which use the entire range of audio formats in a single program. For example, like narration, music, drama, interviews, poetry, sound effects, etc. The rural programs are broadcasted from almost all India radio stations in different languages and also in local dialects to provide educational and informational support to agriculture and rural development programs. As an advertising medium also, it proved cheaper in reaching many of a time. The radio programs have also been relatively dependent of the pre and post broadcast activities of learners, which can be like features, discussions, news bulletins, drama and talks. Let us start by exploring the formats, what they are and a little about their structures also. A good radio involves more than simply telling stories or expressing opinions. One of the major challenges is choosing the appropriate format for the issue you are covering and the audience you are trying to reach. The features. A feature is a report or story about specific theme, issue, community or a person. It is often a regular item in news or magazine show and a more in-depth discussion of a topic. Radio terminology can differ from station to station. So, you may find that this type of report is also called a package. There are also discussions which are just conversations between two or more people on a specific topic. On a radio program, discussions include a program between the host and guests or experts on the topic being discussed. Listeners may also be involved in the discussion if the program has a call-in portion for questions and comments. There are also news bulletins, which are the roundup of the main stories of the movement. Main story news bulletins usually appear at the top of the hour and shorter bulletins are often placed on the half an hour. They may also be integrated into news programs. Dramas. Dramas are fictional stories, but they are based on real life events or situations. Drama is an effective tool to help listeners connect with the issues on an emotional level. Radio dramas are widely used in Africa, Asia and Latin America, especially to present information about social issues. A talk. This is not to be confused with a talk show, a style of radio program that will be reviewed later in this module, and it is a short scripted story or a commentary usually presented by the writer and based on personal experience, observation or analysis. It is often a personal account of the impact of an issue or an event in someone's life. It may also be an opinion statement about a political, ethical or moral issue. Talks can be used to highlight the impact of an issue on individuals or spark discussion on a topic. Generally, they are about 2 minutes long. News programs. A news program, sometimes also called a current affairs show, is a compilation of features, reports, interviews and discussions about current events, developments and controversial issues. There are also magazine programs which cover lifestyle, health, topical issues from a human interest angle rather than a hard news angle, and also about travel, youth, gender issues. These programs can cover almost anything. Some magazine programs only cover one topic, while others may cover small or several programs. And there are also talk show formats. In addition to the using of discussions, talk shows, these are also being used in other formats to grab the listener's attention or to help them connect with the issue. Like for example, in drama or talks, using a combination of these two formats, it will create a more diverse program, and this drama can be used to introduce an issue for discussion and talks that could be used to add personal perspective to the topic. Now, let us deal with the script writing for radio. Script writing are probably as many methods of writing as there are writers. It differs in very diverse way. Each author has his own process for developing and writing a script. So much is involved in writing a good script that it would be impossible to write it down in a page or two. If you have never written a script, here is a brief description of one process. If you are an old hand at writing scripts, use what works for you. Let us see how to write a radio script. Learning how to write a radio script is critical for proper execution of a radio performance. The script must include various cues for dialogue, music and sound effects, and be able to quickly and clearly communicate the writer's objectives to the cast and crew. Here are different steps on how to write a radio script. In the first step, you have to formulate a story idea. In that story idea, you have to outline your characters, write about the setting and also what is the conflict, and finally the resolution. In the step 2, you have to write the narrative of the story. You have to put the meat of the story on the bones of your outline. Always keep the limitations of radio in your mind. You are writing for listeners, not viewers. In the step 3, you have to divide the narrative into scenes with good descriptions of setting, character and sound effects. In step 4, write the dialogue based on your narrative. Let your characters and sound effects give the listener a picture of the action in their mind. In step 5, put the story into radio script format. This includes write a page heading. This is used to specify what program or episode you are working on and what page you are on in the script. It should be placed across the top of the page. Next thing is you have to write a scene heading. This specifies the scene number, description of the scene's location and time of the day. You also have to include script cues. There are 3 things a listener mainly retains from a radio drama, that is the dialogue, music and sound effects. Each of these audio elements or components are identified as a cue because they happen at a given time in the script, and the director may also instruct someone or cue them to produce it. Then you have to insert the music cues. Varying emotions can be achieved through the choice of music. So, clearly written instructions regarding music cues will greatly assist the cast and crew in influencing the mood of a given scene. Now, we have to include the dialogue cues. This helps the director and the actors prepare themselves for proper timing and execution. Now, inserting the sound effect cues helps to establish the scene or depict action. Sound effect cues are always underlined. And now, you have to compose your production notes. Engineers, cast or crew requires specific instructions that are handled as production notes, comments from the writer on how to coordinate cues or achieve particular effects. These need to be clear and precise. In the step 6, edit your radio script after letting it sit for a few hours or days. A fresh set of eyes will help you catch any mistakes in grammar or plot. Consider having a third party scrutinize the script for you. In the step 7, present the script to your producer or editor and make revisions as necessary. The effectiveness of a radio broadcast increases when the program writers take into account vocabulary of the target group, and if organizers encourage listeners to participate in a post broadcast session, particularly if the broadcasts themselves are so designed as to draw the listeners to a participatory program in the form of filling in checklists and other academic exercises. It also included programs such as talk shows, weather reports, music, news summaries and many other entertainment programs. Thus, in its various formats, radio is strongly striving to survive a challenge of the television today. With this, I conclude the topic radio. Any questions?
Ma'am, could you explain what is AM?
AM is also called medium wave. It is amplitude modulation, which will be used for long distance transmission or broadcast. This will be different from FM broadcast, because FM broadcast is only for 75 kilometers range. So, naturally for long distances AM is being used, and that is generally the term that is used in the All India Radio terminology. And any more questions? With this, I conclude the topic radio. Thank you.